Sheikh. Welcome aboard. And without further ado, I'll hand over the session to Mr. Wakar. Sir, you may proceed. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullah. Good evening, good morning, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Umair, for giving me the dice. And I'm glad to be among the students from UT Lahore and all the professionals who are joining this session across the globe. And all the students from the University of Engineering and Technology Lahore. I especially pay thanks to the IEEE UET Society and Power Energy Society who have organized this webinar. Before starting my presentation, I would like to just give you an overview of my profile. Okay, I hope you can see my screen. Basically, this is a bird's eye view of my profile. I have total 10-year experience, and all of this experience is in Saudi Arabia. And I work with different consultants in the market and some of the reputed electrical manufacturers. And I have mainly 4 expertise: analysis, protection, design and prescription, and general engineering services. All these related to the electrical engineering. And these are the international standards that I'm conversant with. And these are some of the tools that I have worked with. And the most repeatedly used tool in my career is ETAP software. And I'm glad to share that I have been an ETAP certified engineer. Okay, and these are some of the certifications that I acquired in the last 10 years. And these are some of the trainings and seminars opportunities that I acquired in the last 3 years, where I got the opportunity to share my knowledge with the industry professionals and the students from different universities. So now let us proceed towards our today's discussion, which is about distribution network power system studies. This session is going to be a wonderful session, I hope, because this is all about the students who are trying to pursue their career in the power system studies field. It's not only for the students, but it's also for the professionals who are all the time looking for some guidance, that someone can come forward and give them the guidance and the right direction how they can proceed their career in power system studies field. Okay, and I would like to make this session an interactive session, not like a single directed communication. I would like to ask questions from the audience, and I would appreciate your answers. So let us start with the outline of this presentation. I will be talking about what is this power system analysis field, what are the driving factors, and what are the motivations that we are doing all these analysis techniques, right? And then I will talk about the various possible sources from where we can learn about power system analysis. I will also jump across the different international engineering standards, especially IEEE and IC standards, which guides us in conducting these studies. And most importantly, today's discussion will be revolving around IEEE 399 Brown Book. And I will be also sharing about the latest recent standards and the books which have been published in the past 2-3 years. And these books have played a very important role in developing the careers of the engineers and the students. There will be a short discussion on the state-of-art tools which are available in the market for conducting these analysis. And lastly, I will give you a short concluding remark on this presentation and would like to take your questions and answers. So let's start with the first topic. The first topic is about what is power system analysis. As per IEEE transactions on industry and general applications, ESA is defined as, can you hear that? Sorry. Okay. Power system analysis primarily consists of the collection of techniques used to predict or improve the performance of an existing or proposed power system under specified conditions. Well, this definition is not easily digestible for the students, especially for those who are in their engineering days. Okay. And the professionals who are working in this field, maybe they are aware about what is this definition, but those professionals who have not worked in power system studies field, this definition remains red in their mind until I go more in detail about this definition. So the next 3 slides is going to dig deeper into this definition of power system analysis. So you can see here, I have split up this definition into 3 parts. The first thing is collection of techniques, right? And the second thing is these techniques are used to predict or improve the performance of an existing or proposed power system. So we have to understand this line also. And thirdly, under specified conditions. So until we do not understand these three parts of this definition, we will not get the complete idea of what is power system analysis. So let's start with the first part, collection of techniques. When I say collection of techniques, I mean to say these are different type of analysis techniques, or these are different type of calculations which are required to be conducted. Especially the students who are from the third year or from the final year, they might have come across a subject called power system analysis. So in that subject, they might have studied about power flow analysis, they might have studied about fault analysis. So basically, these are few examples of those techniques. As you can see here, one of the technique can be, which is the basic study in any power system analysis, which is called load flow analysis or power flow analysis. In this power flow or load flow analysis, we are concerned about the voltages on the buses, the steady state voltages on the buses. We are concerned about the currents passing through the branches and the active reactive power flows, the power factor of the system, and the sizing of the equipment, the cables, the transformers, the breakers, almost all the electrical installation which is to be sized at the steady state conditions of the network. Load flow study is the study which takes care about this. Similarly, the other type of study can be fault analysis or short circuit analysis. This is the second most important study which is required to be conducted. It enables the power system engineers to decide about the thermal and electrodynamic withstand capabilities of the electrical equipments. Think of a switchgear, think of a cable, think of a generator or a motor. All these equipments are to be robust enough to face against the short circuit effects. So basically, the short circuit analysis take into consideration the fault scenarios where these faults can affect the equipment's health. Okay. Similarly, the other type of study is one of the most important study in Middle East, in fact, all over the world. This is arc flash study, which is now becoming a mandatory practice in every industry. So arc flash study is all about the safety of the operators working in the substation environment. This study tells us about what are the possible incident energy levels in calories per centimeter squares, and what shall be the personal protective equipment to be wear by the operators when they are going in front of an energized equipment. Okay, this study also helps us to generate the work permits before starting any kind of electrical work on an energized equipment. Okay. Similarly, the other type of studies can be transient stability study, motor starting dynamic and static acceleration study, and harmonics analysis, voltage stability analysis, optimal capacitor placement study. It is also called as power factor correction study. And one of the most important study with respect to the commissioning of plants, protection device coordination study. Okay. Similarly, optimal power flow study, DC system analysis study, grounding mesh studies. All these are different type of analysis of the studies, which is referred in this definition as collection of techniques. So I hope this first part of the definition is clear to you when the definition says collection of techniques. Let us move to the next part of the definition, which says all these techniques are used to predict or improve the performance of an existing or proposed power system. Now here comes two important concepts to understand, especially for those students who are going to join the industry after a few months. There are mainly two types of projects, greenfield projects and brownfield projects. Greenfield projects are those which are new electrical installations. It means there is nothing existing on the ground and we have to build up everything from scratch. Okay. You can think of any new housing society which is going to be built up. You can think of any new industry, or you can think of any commercial plaza is going to be constructed in coming months. So that can be called as a greenfield project. And that is the reason I made it as in green color. Okay. The second part, the second type of projects can be brownfield projects. And these projects are those where electrical installation is already existing there. There is already an electrical network which is providing power to the existing facilities there. But we are going to do some extension in that electrical network. A very good, excellent example of an extension project can be thought of this Haram extension or Masjid an-Nabi extension, which is going day by day because of the increasing number of demands from the pilgrims. Okay, so it means primarily the projects can be greenfield or brownfield projects. So when I say greenfield projects, the keywords predict and propose power system are applicable to this definition. It means when we have any new electrical installation or greenfield projects, we want to forecast or we want to predict about the behavior of the system before we actually install the system. For example, we are building an electrical network which can be composed of transformers, cables, motors, variable frequency drives, generators. All these equipments are to be physically installed as part of the project requirement because it's a new electrical network. So before we actually install them, we need to size them. We need to predict the system behavior in advance before it's purchasing it. So So when we say we are predicting a proposed power system, it means we are talking about greenfield projects. So we are conducting all these analyses and the techniques to forecast the behavior of the system before we actually purchase it or before we actually commission this system in the site. Okay, and when we say the other part of the definition, improve the performance of an existing power system. So we are talking about the brownfield projects. It can be referred to as an extension to an existing facility. And before we are doing the extension, actually, we want to predict what can be the behavior of the installation after we add new loads into the network. Okay, you can think of any industry which is going to be extended with some extra units. So these type of projects are brownfield projects, and in such projects, the power system studies are also to be applied in order to ensure that we are improving the performance of the system. It may happen that if we add new loads, it may collapse the power systems. So it's important to conduct these type of studies, which we discussed in the previous slides, on greenfield projects as well as the brownfield projects. Okay. Now I hope that the second part of the definition is clearly understandable to you. And the third part of the definition is under specified conditions. This is the most tricky part. Now, as I told you, different power system analysis techniques like load flow, short circuit protection coordination are to be applied on greenfield project or brownfield project. But there is very important thing to remember, that whenever we are doing all these simulations or whenever we are doing all these analysis techniques, we are studying the network under different possible operating configurations. Now, what does it mean? It means that, let us take an example to understand this. You can see here, a same electrical network can be operated in 3 different operating scenarios. For example, you can see here, in the first scenario, there is a double-ended configuration. The power supply is normally coming into the transformers and feeding the separate sections of the low voltage distribution board. So this is a normal operation scenario. Our system may be able to withstand this scenario. Our system demand can be easily fulfilled by this scenario. So we have to execute a simulation by considering this normal scenario. But does it mean we are done with our power system study? No, because we have not investigated the other possible operating scenarios of the network. So it's very important that whenever we are conducting any study, either it's a load flow or short circuit or motor starting, any type of study, we must investigate the network under different possible operating conditions. Now, I am showing you another second example here, which is showing that a fault may happen on the secondary side of the transformer here, and there can be an outage. This transformer can get out of the service, right? So in this case, it's very important to know that if this transformer is out of service, how the other transformer will be able to carry the load of the entire installation. So it means when we are doing the study, we want to make sure that our system shall be able to operate with a single-ended operation. This is an emergency condition for any plant, right? So this can be also one of the scenario to be considered when I say under specified conditions. Similarly, another third example can be seen on the right side. In this example, there is no outage, but we want to do some preventive maintenance on the transformer here. Okay, and we want to switch off this part of the network. So when we want to switch off this part of the network, definitely we would like to close this bus coupler to keep the continuity of service to the entire distribution network down there. So it means we are intentionally switching off this network and making this single transformer taking the load of the entire installation. So it is another type of single-ended operational configuration which relates to the maintenance works. So what does it mean? Does it mean when I say specified conditions, it means we have to investigate the network under all the possible best case, normal case, or the worst case operating conditions. In the local engineering standards, we used to call it as a maximum system voltage condition, normal system voltage condition, or minimum system voltage condition. Okay. So I hope this example can give you a very good idea about what are the different concept of configurations in a power system network. So after having gone through these 3 parts of the definition, now I believe this definition of power system is green in your mind. Now you can say that power system analysis primarily consists of collection of techniques used to predict or improve the performance of an existing or proposed power system under specified conditions. So I hope no questions left over this topic. Let us move to the second topic of this presentation. The second topic is about why we are conducting all these analyses, why we need to do load flow study, why we need to do short circuit analysis or the motor starting studies. I would like to ask the audience if they can give their feedback based on their experience, based on their theoretical knowledge. I would appreciate their feedback. So if anyone can answer this question, I would really appreciate it.
As you had explained earlier, I think it's basically done to analyze a system as well as draw up a feasibility of whether if we can afford a change, and if we are integrating that change, how much is it going to affect and in what way is it going to affect our equipment and our system in general? So I think that's why we need.
Very good. A very good answer. And anyone else who wants to contribute?
Excuse me, may
Yeah, so I would like to add to this is that when we are doing power studies, we see the behavior of the system, but we also see design aspects like the size of the equipment, whether they are or whether we shift loads depending on the position. So it's also economics come into play. Or cheap otherwise. So it's an overall thing in design that it also verifies our design apart from the studies that we carry.
Thank you very much, Vikas, for your valuable feedback. So we have collected few answers, but I think there are some distortions because of the microphone. So we can continue with our topic. Okay, I have heard the answers from different participants, and most of the participants who are professionals and who have already worked in the industry, they are pretty much familiar about what are the motivations behind conducting these studies. So in order to generalize this answer, I have come up with 4 different possible Can you please switch off the microphones? Yeah, thank you so much. Okay. So when we say what is the purpose for conducting all these analyses, what comes in my mind, I'm going to share with you based on my experience. The first important motivation to conduct these studies is the safety of the people who are working at site. Safety can be thought of from different aspects. Okay, it can be thought of an arc flash hazard, which is going to impact the life of a person who is working near an energized equipment. So we want to conduct a study to ensure that the worker is wearing the right personal protective equipment. It can be also thought of the grounding system, equipotential bounding. For example, the workers are on a substation mesh floor, and there are dangerous touch and step voltages, and they are vulnerable to those voltages. So they may get a high amount of shock because of those voltages. So it's important to conduct these studies so that we can predict the safety of that earthing grid. Okay. Similarly, there can be many other ways to understand the concept of safety, especially who are in the application field of power system studies. They can explain you more in detail, but I have given you only 2 examples to understand the safety. So one of the motivation for conducting power system studies is the safety of the people. The second important motivation and the reason for conducting power system analysis is reliable service. As I explained you in the previous slides, that a system can be operated in a normal operating configuration, or it can have a contingency situation. So we want to make sure that our power system is not having a single point of failure. It should be able to cope up with any kind of network disturbance, and to be able to keep continuing its continuity of service. So it's very important that our network shall be reliable, and these studies allow us to predict the network behavior from reliability perspective before we actually install the network or before we actually energize the network. So reliability of this is the second important reason we are conducting these studies. The third important reason is high power quality. Nowadays, it's becoming more and more important, especially when we talk about cost of electricity. Okay, when I say high power quality, it basically comprises of 2 indices. One of them is power factor, and the other one is harmonics. Okay, so we want to make sure that the electricity which is being brought from a utility supply company like WAPDA or Saudi Electricity Company or from Indian Grid Authority, we are not paying money for the electricity. So high power quality means electricity is having less tariffs, or the charges of the electricity are lesser as per the consumption required. Okay, it can be also related to the harmonics. When I say high power quality electricity, it means our electricity is not generating any noise into the existing networks. There are no voltage distortions. There are no current distortions in the network, because when there are voltage distortions or the current distortions, many other problems will come into the network. Last week, I had the opportunity to deliver a seminar on power quality to King Saud University, and if the organizers of this presentation feel that this presentation is going to be a good presentation for all the students, so we can arrange a similar presentation on the subject of power quality in the coming months, inshallah. Okay, so now this power quality is one of the third motivation which is requiring us to conduct power system studies. Number 4 motivation for power system study is the money. Everyone wants to save his money, especially the end users. They don't want to spend more money than their actual requirement. So it's important to realize that whenever we are designing an electrical system, the system should not be undersized, because if it is undersized, it will definitely affect the life of the equipments, and it will result into casualties of the system or the collapse of the system. In the other words, if we have a system with high cost, it would definitely add burden on the project cost. So we want to make sure that the installation is having low initial costs and the operating costs. In business terms, we can think it as capex and opex of any project. Okay, so it means that there are 4 objectives or the 4 motivations which are requiring us to conduct these power system studies: safety, reliable service, high power quality, and low and initial operating costs. So I hope this topic is clearly understandable to you guys. Third topic is very important and very interesting, and I have brought some interesting videos for you so that you can get a better insight of this topic. This topic about some real life examples. I have come across some of the industry professionals from Pakistan where they say that we are running the plants from last 40 years and we really don't feel any difference if we conduct a study, if we do not conduct a study, because our plants are running. So I was really very much shocked to hear about it, because they do not realize the importance of the human life. They do not realize the continuity of service. So here I'm going to give you a few examples from our real lives that how the result can be catastrophic if we are not conducting these power system studies, and how we are going to be affected if the network is not given the opportunity to conduct all these network studies. So there are 3 different topics that will be covered under this real life examples. We will go one by one. For example, the first topic is protection coordination in real life. Now let us imagine a scenario. You are sitting in your home. You have a socket outlet from where you used to charge your mobile phones, right? This socket outlet is being powered from a final distribution board in your home or the service entrance panel of your home. And this service entrance panel is further powered from a distribution board of the transformer just after the transformer. So it means there is a hierarchy of the power which is being distributed up to your socket. And from there you are charging your mobile phone. If this study, which is called protection device coordination study, is done properly on your network, whether it's a home network, it's a commercial network, or it's an industrial installation, whenever this study is done properly and the settings, the protection settings are done properly using the softwares like ETAP, SKM, so what will happen? You can see this scenario. If any fault occurs in your mobile charger, as you can see here, the yellow colored fault symbol, it will only affect the nearest breaker associated to that socket. That is the branch circuit breaker in your service entrance panel. So this fault will not propagate throughout the network to trip all the protection devices. You can see that all the protection devices are in green color. It means the fault has only affected the nearest circuit breaker in the electrical architecture. So what will be the benefit if we have this type of relay settings or the selectivity of the network protection devices? The first benefit will be we will have the continuity of service. You can see all the network will remain energized and you will be just isolating the faulty area. The second benefit will be your device will be protected, your equipments will be protected, they will not be harmed or they will not be damaged by the electrical shocks. And the third and the most important thing is the human safety. Okay, so in the next 2 slides, you will see how if we are bypassing this type of study, which is protection coordination study, and it's one of the most important study when speaking about the production plants and speaking about all the industries, what will happen if we ignore this type of study? Let us see the first consequence. If we are not doing the protection settings properly, it will firstly result into the loss of service continuity, right? You can see here, if the fault is propagating throughout the network, it will trip all the protection devices coming in series. And as a result, your production will be lost. Your factory will be blackout. Okay, so you don't want this scenario if you are owner of a factory or if you are a working professional. Okay, this is the minimum type of loss which can be occurred, because the other 2 losses are of higher nature, which I'm going to show in next 2 slides. So this is one of the loss outcome of wrong protection settings, that is loss of service continuity. The second type of loss can be damages to the electrical equipments. Now you can think of a scenario if your protection devices are wrongly given the settings and they do not trip at the right time. So the fault may going to damage the bus bars or the assemblies from where the power is being distributed. This is an example of a switchgear which is blasted or which is affected due to lack of tripping of the protection devices. Okay, so this is the second level of harm which can occur in your network if you are ignoring these type of studies and you are not giving the proper settings into your protection relays or the circuit breakers. And the third and the most important and the most dangerous outcome of wrong protection settings can be injury to the human life, and even it can be fatal as up to death. Okay, so if the protection device do not operate at the right time, so because of the damage of the equipment, ultimately the human or the operator who is working near to that equipment, he will be get severe injuries or second degree burns or even near to death. Okay, so these are the three outcomes if we are not doing these studies or these protection settings properly. And the international standard which is guiding us for conducting these studies is IEEE 242. It is also called as Buff Book. I will be discussing more about the international standards in the coming slides. Okay. So I hope you can understand the first example of the importance of protection of protection coordination studies or the system studies. The second example from the real life can be arc flash events. I don't know whether the students know about it, but the industry professionals are pretty much aware about this fact. So let us see a small video which will enable you to see the catastrophic effects of this effect.
I wasn't watching because I didn't have a guide. We're ready to test. 3, 2, 1.
A worker has no chance of getting out of the way. An arc flash can reach 35,000 degrees Fahrenheit, causing disabling second and third degree burns in seconds. It creates a pressure wave called an arc blast that can reach thousands of pounds per square inch, enough to knock someone off a ladder, rupture an eardrum, or collapse a lung. It'll blow equipment apart and propel shrapnel with enough force to completely penetrate a worker's body. An unprotected worker could be severely injured or killed.
Okay, so I hope you have seen the effect of arc flash in our daily lives. The purpose of showing this video is not to make you afraid from electricity, but in fact the intent is if we are following the precautionary measures, the safety measures, if we are conducting these studies, these events would not have resulted into the injuries of the people who are shown in this video. Okay, so let us see a third example, which is about the touch and step voltage potentials, about the substations and especially about the high voltage power lines. Again, I'm going to show you another video, which is going to explain you in a very beautiful manner how these touch and step voltages play an important role in our daily lives. And it will also give you some safety measures in case of the incidents which is going to happen in this video.
Hello? Sorry, my meeting ran late. I should be home in about a half an hour. Sure, I can pick up dinner. What do you want? Hot and spicy. That's what I'm talking about. I will. I love you too. So that's what an airbag feels like. My car. Great. I should probably get out and see how bad the damage is. Wait. Are those telephone wires or power lines? Either way, they could be hot. No way to be sure. Don't take any chances. Just stay in the car and call 911. Good thing I actually paid attention during that safety meeting. Hi, this is Stephen Stonebanks. I've been in a car accident. I hit a power pole. I'm on Highway 18, somewhere east of the 356th Street exit, a couple of miles. No, I'm okay, but there are power lines on my car. Okay, yeah, I know. I won't move until you tell me that the line is de-energized. Yes, I will stay put. Okay, please hurry. Thank you. Honey? Listen. I've been in an accident. I'm fine. I hit a power pole. The car is a mess, but I'm okay. Yeah, I've called 911. They're on their way. Oh, no. Hey!
Are you okay?
Hey! Stay back! No, don't come any closer. You could get shot by the ground around these down power lines. Stay back about 35 feet and make sure no one else comes near.
Okay.
I've called 911. They're on their way. Thank you. Honey? No, I'm fine. No, don't worry. Yeah, the police are on their way. Yeah, all I've got to do now is sit and wait. Honey? I gotta call you back in a couple of minutes. Oh boy. Not good.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Plan B. Exit the vehicle. So now I gotta worry about touch potential. Touch potential is risk of electrocution based on one part of the body touching an energized object like a car while simultaneously touching the ground. Electricity flows from the vehicle through the body and into the ground, essentially making me into a human jumper cable, which would be bad. I gotta jump and land with both feet together. Okay, now step potential. Because the ground is energized, electrical current can travel through me if my feet aren't close together. Electrical current enters through one foot and out the other. The further apart my feet are, the greater my chances of getting shocked. So I must move away using short, shuffling steps. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. There you go. You got this, Stephen. No large steps. Just keep on shuffling. Every day I'm shuffling. I'm sorry, I can't come to the phone right now. I'm busy trying to stay alive at the moment. Almost there. Hi, honey. No, everything's okay. No, nobody got hurt today. Well, except the, remember how we were talking about getting me a new car?
So I hope you enjoyed this video, which explains the concept of touch and step voltage potentials. Okay, and basically this is the real life example, but in actual, when we are doing these studies in our life, we are conducting all these analysis. Basically, we are doing all these calculations. It can be done by hand, or it can be done by the use of state-of-art tools like ETAP, CDGS software. Okay, so the purpose of these 3 videos is to give you an idea that how our life can be changing if we are not conducting these studies and we are not aware about these concepts and the facts. Okay. Now we will jump into the third topic of our discussion. Sorry, the fourth topic of our discussion, which is what are the various possible sources from where we can learn about all these techniques or the power system analysis, the studies. Okay. So now I have two type of audience in this presentation. I can see there are students as a participant, and there are many industry professionals. In fact, I can see some of them are my previous colleagues from the previous companies, and even my present colleagues are also there. So this slide is mainly focusing on the EE students, electrical engineering students, that from where do they learn all these analysis techniques and all these concepts. Okay, so the possible answer is just Google it. You will find many books on power system analysis. Okay, so in your engineering days, you might have come across these books, which are part of our course curriculum, especially in the third year or the final year, where we are required to study a subject like power system analysis by Hadi Sadat or Granger, power system analysis textbook. Okay, so normally in the engineering days, we are given only the theoretical overview of all these concepts. We are given less information about the application perspective of all these analysis. So for up to the student life, we only focus up to the books and the theoretical concepts only. Okay, let us see if we are professional. If you are a professional, then what can be your possible source of learning these studies. Okay, now as a professional, you are no more required to go back into the books. As a professional of industry, it's very important to understand that what is the industry requirement when we are doing all this analysis. So the answer to this question is, as a professional, you need to follow international standards. Okay, now I categorize the standards majorly into two types: American standards and the European standards. These are the slang words I'm using it. Okay, but in actual, the American standards are composed of ANSI standards, IEEE standards. Okay, and the European standards are composed of International Electrotechnical Commission, that is IEC standards. So as an industry professional, if you want to pursue in this field as a power system study engineer, then you must have some prerequisite knowledge about these international standards, which I'm going to show in next slides. Okay, so let us see what are the IEEE standards which are used for conducting all these different type of studies. Okay, so now maybe the students or the professionals will be afraid of so many standards, so they have to learn all these standards. But don't worry, it's not about learning all the standards in one shot. You have to go one by one based on your wish list. For example, if you want to say, I want to learn load flow study. Okay, so we will be more descriptive in our coming slide that will help us to understand the various possible learning places for all type of different power system studies. Okay, so let us see. For example, if someone wants to learn load flow analysis, what can be the reference book or what can be the reference standard for him to start with load flow analysis? I would strongly recommend the students and the professionals to have gone through IEEE 399, which is also called as Brown Book. This Brown Book is a wonderful book. It gives you a very good idea about how to conduct a load flow study, and it also it contains an example calculation which can open our broaden our mental canvas about conduct this load flow study. Okay, and not only the international standard but also the local engineering standards like SABIC standards or Aramco standards. They also gives us guidelines on conducting load flow analysis. But the most of the concepts about conducting these studies will always come from IEEE 399 standard. Similarly, which are to be read by the power system engineer so that they are comfortable and they are confident in conducting this analysis. For protection coordination study, there is IEEE standard 242. For arc flash analysis and mitigation solutions, we refer to IEEE 1584 NFPA 70E standards. Okay. Similarly, for motor starting, IEEE 399. For power factor correction studies or harmonic analysis, we are following IEEE 519 standard. Okay. So all this descriptive explanation on the different standards is summarized here in this slide. You can see here that the Brown Book, I will be explaining more about the Brown Book in the coming slides, is giving you very clear guideline in how to conduct a load flow study and how to conduct a motor starting study. Okay, and the Wallet Book gives you guidelines about how to conduct a short circuit study. Especially in my early career days, I learned chapter number 9 and 10 of the Wallet Book. It is very useful, especially if someone is preparing for interview for this power system study position. You need to have a very good knowledge about the different concepts behind short circuit analysis. And interestingly, the short circuit analysis is not only based on one standard. There are two streamlines across the globe. There are some countries which are conducting short circuit analysis as per IC standards, IC 60909, and there are some other countries like US who are following IEEE standards or ANSI standards. So you have to define your region. Okay, if you are in Middle East, then the combination of both of those standards, these two standards can be used. For example, in Saudi Aramco, IEEE standards are followed, but in the private sector, IC standards are followed. In Pakistan, IC standards are followed. In US, IEEE standards are followed. Okay, but if you are a mentor or a coach, you need to have a very good knowledge of both of these two standards if you want to conduct a short circuit study. Okay. Similarly, for conducting these earthing studies, the one that are related to the step voltage and touch voltage potentials, IEEE standard 80 is very important to understand. Okay. And for protection coordination studies, which helps us to determine the relay settings, IEEE standard 242 is very important in this perspective. For harmonic analysis, IEEE 519 standard gives us the limits for the total harmonic distortion with respect to currents and the voltages. Okay, it's also the standard for giving the benchmarks that what shall be the acceptable harmonic contents in a network. For conducting these arc flash studies, IEEE 1584 shall be your reference book. Okay. And similarly for DC power analysis, these are the standards. For transient stability studies, these are the standards. So it's all about the standards that you should be referring when you want to pursue in this field. It's not about the software. The software is just like black box. Okay, even I never encourage the students to go directly into the softwares and try learning the softwares directly. It's always highly advisable. In fact, it's mandatory for anyone who is going to do this study in an industry that he should have a good knowledge about these different international standards. Okay. So now I'm going to discuss about another topic, which is basically the heart of this discussion, IEEE 399 Brown book. Okay, this book is all about power system analysis. Okay, I would strongly appreciate the educational institutes if they can make this book as part of the curriculum of the students, especially for those who want to pursue in power system analysis field, because the beauty of this book is this book has several chapters indicating the different type of studies which are to be faced in their distribution networks. Okay, for example, you can see here there is chapter number 6 for conducting load flow analysis. There is chapter number 7 for conducting short circuit analysis. Okay, and chapter 10 for harmonic analysis. So if you want to have a very good idea and a fundamental knowledge about these different type of studies, I strongly recommend you to go into the books and read the application concepts. There may be some mathematical formulations about that particular study, but you can bypass that part because that part is not applicable to the application engineering. Okay, so these books and this book and the chapters in this book will be surely so much helpful for you to learn about this field. Okay, and other than the chapters given in this book, there are some more standards which are going dig deep into these different type of studies. For example, if I say chapter number 7 is about short circuit studies, but if someone wants to go into the depth of the short circuit analysis and want to see some hands-on experience, or some want to solve some manual calculations on conducting short circuit studies, then IEEE 551, which is the Violet book, which can be a very good source for him to learn short circuit studies by using hand calculation methods. Okay. Similarly, if someone wants to learn harmonic analysis more in detail, he can refer to IEEE 519 standard that talks totally about the harmonic studies. Okay, and also about grounding studies. If someone wants to know all the equations and want to see the complete methodology of conducting a grounding study, he should refer to IEEE standard 80. Okay, and for protection coordination studies, if he wants to know all the fundamentals behind this protection coordination study, he can refer to the Buff book, IEEE 242 standard. So basically, the best thing about this book is it is summarizing all the different type of power system studies in one single book. Okay, and believe me, this book can do wonders if you want to pursue in this field. Let me share with you my first interview experience at Schneider Electric. I was at my second year of my career, and I do not have a practical experience about the different type of power system analysis. But by the second year of my experience, I had gone through all the important chapters of this book. So my interview at Schneider Electric went very good because I had a very good knowledge about the application perspective of the standard of the power system studies. So the person who was taking my interview, he really didn't get the hint that I did not have performed these studies actually in my real life, because these standards are telling you exactly what you have to know about these type of studies. Okay, especially this Brown book. So I strongly encourage all of the students. In fact, I encourage IEEE Society UET, if they do not have this book in their library, they should bring some copies of this book in hard copy and share with the students for their learning purpose. Okay. So now I'm going to discuss about another topic. What are the latest power system study standards which are available in the market? Okay. Of course, these standards cannot be called as a replacement to the Brown Book. The importance of Brown Book will remain there. When I say Brown Book, I mean to say IEEE 399 book. Okay. But in the last 2 years, there have been some significant changes, or there have been some very good books which have evolved into the market, and these books are more about the application knowledge. So as you can see here that the Brown Book is still there, but in the year 2018, there are 4 standards came in this market, and these standards are covering different chapters of the Brown Book. You can see that IEEE 3002.2 standard is now talking only about the load flow studies. IEEE 3002.3 standard is talking only about the short circuit studies. And similarly, 3002.7 is for motor starting, and 3002.8 is for harmonic analysis. What is the best part in the new books which I studied, that now these books are containing the interfaces from the power system softwares. So I would like to mention about the ETAP software here, that this software has become so much popular in the market that now the standards are being followed as per the software interface. If you see the Brown Book will have some of the screenshots taken from the PSAC software. This is Siemens software for conducting these studies, but it's not so much in number. But if you open these books on the left side, the new standards, which are also called as 3002 series of standards, these books contains screenshots directly from the ETAP software. So this is the best part of the book. Like, you are learning something from the standard, but you are given the interface of the software to practice with. And interestingly, all the examples which are given in these 4 books, they are also available as default examples within the ETAP default library. So anyone who wants to actually learn these studies from the standards on one end and from the software on the other end, they can merge together by learning from the book and seeing it on the software directly. Right. So these are the 4 important books that that have come into the market in year 2018, and especially those engineers who are working in this field, they may be already familiar about these latest standards. And I would again request the IEEE UT Society members if they can also bring these books in their library from the university through the university expenses. Okay. So what I mean to say, these are the 4 standards which are actually renovating. They are not changing, or they are not replacing the Brown Book, but they are renovating the concepts of the Brown Book into the modern needs of power system studies. Okay. Now, another book which was published at the start of this year, January 2020. This is an excellent book having the similar concept like that of the DOT standards, 3002 standards. In this book, there are screenshots from the software. And this book is not only about the theoretical perspective of the system studies. It also shows you some real life examples, some practical examples from the software. And interestingly, the examples shown in this book are also shown in ETAP software as the default examples. And the interesting thing about this book is, you can see here the authors in this book there are 2 Japanese electrical engineers, and the middle engineer, his name is Tanuj Kandewal. He is the chief technical officer from ETAP company. So basically, you can imagine that this book is something which has directly or indirectly relationship with the software making company. Okay, so I would strongly encourage the students, especially those who have already gone through the basic knowledge through IEEE 399 Brown Book. They should also spend some time to read this book if they can get the opportunity, especially the advanced level users in the field of power system studies. And this book can be very useful to them, especially when speaking about some complex type of power system studies like stability analysis and the transient studies. Okay. Now, this slide is about the discussion on the different possible power system tools which are available in the market for conducting power system studies. There are some tools which are used for conducting steady state analysis like ETAP, SKM Power Tools, Power Analytics. Its name is also EDSA. In the past, it was very famous, but now it is very rapidly replaced by the new softwares. Easy Power is one of the emerging power system tool, which is very frequently advertised on LinkedIn, and I have also attended their webinars, and I found it very strong tool for conducting the steady state type of studies like the load flows, short circuits, protection coordinations, harmonics, all these type of studies. Similarly, Neplan is a software from ABB, and this software is also allowing you to conduct all these different type of studies. SIME, and there is one software, CDEGS. It's a very powerful software for conducting earthing studies. In fact, it has the feature of conducting multi-layer soil modeling, which is making it more useful as compared to ETAP software. By the way, ETAP software is not used for all the different type of studies. There are some limitations in the software, but CDEX is actually going to complement the limitations of the ETAP software from earthing studies perspective. DigSilent is another software which is also called as Power Factory. It is also used for conducting these type of studies and even some transmission system and generation studies. PSSE is one of the oldest software for conducting transmission and generation planning studies. It can also perform load flow short circuits, but most of the users who have worked on ETAP software for these basic distribution studies, they do not encourage PSSE software. So normally PSSE software is used for those electrical installations which are belonging to the transmission line networks or the generation plants, because it comprises, or it can better give you a visuality of the long or the geographically located electrical sections, especially when we are interconnecting the cities or the different grids between different locations. Okay, there are three softwares: ATP Draw, PSCAD, EMTP. And maybe there may be other softwares in the market, but these three softwares are specially made up for electromagnetic transient studies like insulation coordination study, transient overvoltage studies. These are some advanced type of studies. To be honest, I'm not expert for electromagnetic transient studies because it is not in my domain, but those who want to pursue their career in electromagnetic transients field, they will be coming across these three softwares: ATP Draw, which is open source software. It's a free software available for everyone, but PSCAD and EMTP softwares are actually paid softwares. The last line in this slide is showing you the vendor specific tools. Okay, for example, Schneider Electric is offering a software called EcoDial, which can help you to do this basic type of load flow and short circuit studies and even discrimination studies for the low voltage installations, right? And similarly, Simaris is the software for Siemens. It can do the same activity which is done by EcoDial software from Schneider Electric, but the difference is when you do the network sizing using Simaris software, the software will give you recommendation on Siemens products. Okay, so basically all the different vendors are making the softwares not only for assisting you in the design stage or in conducting these studies, but they also promote their products through these softwares. So DOC is the software from ABB, which can enable you to design the low voltage installation and to conduct the different type of low voltage studies using this software. XSpider is the software from Eaton, this company, and this is a US company, and this software can enable you to conduct this different type of load flow, short circuit studies and discrimination studies. So the bottom row in this slide is talking about the vendor specific software. Of course, some of the softwares have some distinctive features as compared to others, but they are doing one or more the same way, the same type of works. And all of these four softwares are following IC standard when they are sizing the electrical networks, and they're available free of cost from their websites. Okay. If somebody asks me what can be the best software out of the four softwares from the venue manufacturer, then as per my experience on these four softwares, I would say that I worked in Schneider for 7 years, and I worked aggressively on EcoDial software. It has evolved within the last 10 years into a very good shape, and it has a very strong, robust engine which can perform these basic studies. But one distinctive feature I would like to mention here is about XSpider, because this software contains additionally the feature of arc flash study, which is not available with DOC or Simaris or EcoDial software from Schneider Electric. So other than this distinctive feature of XSpider, which is the arc flash hazard analysis, I think the rest of the things are the same as that of DOC or Simaris and EcoDial. So these are the four vendor specific softwares which can enable you to conduct low voltage installation design or to conduct the basic type of system studies on the low voltage installations. I'm very much shocked to see a guy in Pakistan industry. He is one of the engineering manager in one of the engineering company, and he says that ETAP software can do everything. It can do all the type of production coordination problems. But regretfully, this is not the case. ETAP is one of the robust software in power systems studies. But when we speak about the low voltage networks, especially the discrimination or the relay settings of the category A breakers, we cannot rely on the ETAP software. Even I have a communication with ETAP software help desk where they have accepted that this software cannot be applied on the low voltage installation, especially for the category A breakers. So what will be the solution if there are some deficiencies in ETAP software at particular stage? So at that time, we would definitely have to refer to the vendor specific softwares like EcoDial or Simaris or DOC or XSpider to compensate for those deficiencies. I don't say that ETAP has so many deficiencies, but this is the place where ETAP need improvement. But rest of it, all the other things are very good, and they are like complying to all international standards. The software like ETAP or the STM Power Tool software. Okay. So this is a bird eye view of all the different possible power system study softwares which are available in the market. I might have missed some of them, but these are one which I have come across from time to time in my 10-year experience. Okay. Now I'm going to have this concluding remark on my presentation, that power system analysis is one of the specialized field in electrical power systems engineering. Okay, as you have seen that it requires a very dedicated knowledge, a very good theoretical knowledge about the engineering fundamentals. Okay, and to conduct a technically correct power system study by using any state-of-art tools. Okay, knowledge of international standards, either it's an IEEE standard or IC standard, it must be known to the power system engineer. If somebody have not gone through the standards properly, if he had not prepared through the standard for any power system opportunity, he may going to do blunders in his practical life. So I don't want to make you people afraid of this field, but it's very important that if you know half of the knowledge about the studies, then it means that there may be many problems occurring into your system studies, and you cannot trust on the reliability of those studies. Okay, so this is the concluding remark, and I would like to open the desk for any question and answer sessions in your mind.
Assalamu alaikum, sir. I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. Yes, please continue.
So, sir, I have a question that what are the career opportunities of power system analysis in Pakistan?
Okay, very good question. Thank you very much, Bilal, for asking the question. Actually, for this question, I have prepared a small mini presentation so that the students can get motivation into this field, right? Okay, let me open that presentation. This presentation is titled as Power Systems Analysis Motivations. Okay, it's a very short presentation, not more than 5 to 10 minutes, but it can be an eye-opener, especially for all the students who are in the third year or final year of power engineering, and they want to select this field as their career path. Okay, so the first motivation is for the students, especially the EE students, that this field, the field of power system analysis, is less saturated. There is less competition in this market. Okay, because there are very less number of people who knows exactly what they are doing. Okay, this is the pros of this field. But on the other end, the interviews for power system studies can be very challenging. So you have to have a very good knowledge of the international standards. You have to have some case studies experience, or you have to have learned some existing power system study projects to make yourself prepared for such interviews. Okay, and the third important thing to share about it, that is the good news, that once you get into this field by your hard work, you will have countless grow your career. So once you get into this field, then you will realize that you are in a very good shape. Okay, those individuals who are professionals, who are working with some companies, or they are working in some industry, for those individuals, the motivations can be, especially when their job description in the current company requires technical development to get promoted or to go to a better position. So the concepts or the idea behind conducting all these studies, if they get these skills and these expertise, it would definitely help them to grow their, or to get promotion on their jobs, or to get better opportunities, right? I wanted to share another motivation for those who want to pursue their career in power system analysis. You can see here some of the engineering consulting firms, international consulting firms, which are actually hiring the people who have expertise in this field. These are some of the international companies. Some of them are from Pakistan, and some can be from India as well. You can find your career path if you are a good power system study engineer, and if you have struggled in this field, you can find your career path in these multinational engineering consulting firms. Similarly, you can find your career path in these EPC companies, engineering procurement and construction companies, and these for the candidates who have expertise. Okay, and they have certain departments where these people are sitting and doing all these analysis, and there is less competition when you are applying for as a power system study engineer. Similarly, the electrical manufacturing companies like Siemens, Schneider, ABB, Eaton, Alstom, General Electric, like my experience. I worked there in Schneider for 7 years, and in my entire experience, I got the opportunity to work on different type of studies. So if you have the studies expertise, especially when I speak about manufacturers, protection device coordination study is the most important one. And I had aggressively done many studies on protection coordination studies subject at Schneider Electric. So if you are preparing yourself in power system studies field, especially on the protection coordination studies, it means you are making yourself suitable for any opportunity within these electrical manufacturing firms. Then coming ahead, these studies knowledge can also help you to jump into the power supply companies like WABDA or Kahrama. In Pakistan, instead of WABDA, I would say NTDC, which is conducting these studies, transmission line planning studies. Okay, and in Dubai, Dubai Electricity and Water Authority, Saudi Electricity Company, Indian Grid Authority, Qatar Authority, all these power supply companies are also looking for candidates having unified skills in the field of transmission planning studies. Okay, then the end users, the major players in the market, and the oil and gas and the petrochemical sectors. All these end users have some department like Center of Excellence, or they have some department, Power System Engineering Department, where the people of experience with power system studies, with 10-year experience or 15-year experience, they're sitting there and they're doing all these studies. And the best part of having the opportunity in the field of power system analysis is you will have a white-collar job. You don't need to run around the year in the factory environment. You will be just sitting in your desk, and you will be focusing more by using your brain and your technical skills and your knowledge about this field instead of some physical activities. Okay, but of course you have to keep a physical balance in your life. That depends on you. Okay. The third motivation in this direction is about entrepreneurship. Those individuals who have spent their lives like 10, 15 years as a power system study engineer, they can make up their own company. In fact, there are many companies in the market which are just running because of these studies. They are not investing any kind of manpower staff. They are just one-man show. Okay. So if you are very good in conducting these studies, if you have a very good knowledge about these different type of power system studies, and you just spend some little money on purchasing the software, it would enable you to become an entrepreneur in this field, and you can think of opening your own business as a power system studies consultant. Okay. And the last motivation, I would say this is the most challenging, but the most lucrative and interesting is the mentoring. Like if you are very good in power system studies field, you can open your own institute. You can open teaching to the students and the professionals across the globe how to do these studies, and you can spread the knowledge among them, and you can also earn a good benefit by these mentoring opportunities. So I hope this small presentation can give you a strong motivation why this field can be pursued. Any other question?
Yeah, Mr. Waqar, actually just wanted to ask, really this is very small presentation, but very great motivation. It's a very much impact, especially for industrial, those who are working in industry. But for example, if someone is working in industry, like in manufacturing industry, and someone is working in, for example, so if he want to switch from his industry to power system studies working as a power system studies engineer, so is it possible, like if he have working experience of 4 to 5 years in some other industry, now he wanted to switch? So is it possible, like, and for example, if it's possible, then how he can start?
Okay, very good question. Basically, power system study field is something which is not like a separate study or as a separate field. Okay, you see that in the industries you will find motor control centers, you will find transformers, you will find cables. So all the basic components of power system network are already familiar to you. So you will not get enough time, you will not need more time to understand the modeling concepts, right? When you want to model a transformer, you should know what is the transformer nameplate. When you want to model a motor, you should know what is the nameplate of the motor, okay? So if you want to get into this field, as I told you, this webinar is more about the same question. Like if you want to learn this field in a systematic manner, then the answer is the standards that I have told about. And all these standards, once you jump into the standards, you will really feel a difference, that it really makes a difference in your knowledge about these studies. And these standards will help you, not only these standards, but also you can look up into the videos from YouTube, and you can collaborate the standards knowledge into the YouTube videos, and you can easily understand the concepts Also, there are some trainings available from different mentoring institutes. There are some institutes in India. There are some institutes in Pakistan. I do not recommend the institutes from Pakistan because I do not see the people are well skilled in this field, even they have not worked much into this field. But if you want to take it as a career path, you have to first spend some time to read the standards, give some time, and you have to spend some time to go through the webinars and through the tutorials available from YouTube. And then if you have any question, you can keep in touch with me. I will guide you. I will provide you some learning sources about the standard. And inshallah, it would not take you, especially an experienced, seasoned professional, would not take more than 4 to 5 months to be ready for any interview opportunity for this power system study field.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jazakallah, for this fantastic guide.
Any other questions, students from UT Lahore?
Waqar bhai, I have one question here.
Yes, please.
This is Saqib from Pakistan. I hope you remember me.
Yeah, welcome, Saqib. I know you have been my very good friend all the time. Yeah. Carry on.
Waqar bhai, I am working in IEEE 519 standards in my company regarding the harmonic analysis.
Okay.
And you have mentioned that IEEE 519 is in detail in Brown Book, chapter number 10, I guess. So
Yes.
do you recommend me to only focus on this Brown Book, or you can recommend me any other books which gives practical examples?
Okay. For IEEE 519 Brown Book, as I told you, Brown Book is the starting step. It would not make you 100% knowledgeable about the study. Okay. So once you read the Brown Book contents, 399 standard, it will direct you to another standard, IEEE 519. So in order to be adept in the field of power quality, IEEE standard 519 is the mandatory standard to learn about.
I know something about 519, but more details of harmonic power quality analysis. Do you recommend any other books?
As I told you, IEEE 399 Brown Book, IEEE 519 standard, and the latest released book from CTO of ETAP. It can be also a very good point to start. Other than these three sources, you can refer to the manufacturer's materials, especially Schneider Electric has very good technical bulletins. I can share that with you because these are available as open source material on their website. ABB has very good material on the concept of power quality. Eaton company has very good tools and also very good material about the power quality subject. Okay, so other than these three sources that I told you, you can also refer to the electrical manufacturers literature, which can be very useful for you to understand the depth of this field.
Okay, thank you.
Any other question, gentlemen?
Good evening,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, go
Hello.
on.
Good evening, sir.
Yeah, Shubham, please carry
Yeah,
on.
it is very nice to hear you with this presentation, and really it was very quite awesome to know things about power system. So my question is, I just want you to guide us how we can shape our career in this power system field, because there are really very less people who know the right way to choose the right thing. So please guide us on this little favor.
Okay, the first important thing is if you are a student, you must make sure that you are selecting the subjects in your third year engineering and the final year engineering which are belonging to this field. Electric machines is one of the important subjects in this regard. And because electric machines enables you to understand the concepts about the motors, rotating equipments, and the static equipments like transformers. Then another subject which is called power transmission and distribution. It's another important subject of the engineering days, which you should have taken this course if you were a student. And the third subject, power system analysis. Normally this is a Gwenger book. It is also covering the basic concepts of theoretical concepts of power system analysis. So if you are making up your mind at the student life, then these are three important courses that you must take. Okay, once you come into the field, and if you are luckily in the same field as I know you are from CDEX company and you are doing earthing studies, so you have already like habit of understanding how the standards works. Okay, so if somebody wants
Yes,
to
exactly.
know about one particular type of study, then he should go to the right standard and the right chapter, and he should start reading from there. I would strongly encourage all the students to read by themselves, because if you are learning from others, you will only get the limited knowledge with the other guy know. But if you are learning it from the book and from the right standard, it would definitely make a lot of difference in your technical competencies. Right. So the standards, as I again told you, the standards are most important thing when you want to pursue in this field. Then you can take some sessions from YouTube, from the power system tools. Easy Power has given very good technical tutorials on their software. ETAP has given very good technical tutorials on their software. ETAP demo version is available on their website for the students. Recently, they launched the student version. Okay, and also one of the most important tip I would like to give you, to keep in touch with the industry professionals for sake of learning and knowledge sharing, because the people who are already in this market, they can guide you the best way how to proceed and how to move in this direction.
Okay, thank you very much, sir. And keep doing this webinar again and again so that we can learn a lot of things from you.
You're welcome. So gentlemen, no question came from UT Lahore other than Bilal's first question. So I have 53 audience here.
Hello, sir. Assalamu alaikum.
Yes.
Yeah, actually, I'm studying in NUST, and basically for our power system courses, they're using the book Glover's book, right?
Yeah.
So I've seen IEEE's Brown book's contents and the book that we're using, Glover book. They have the same contents. So are they like interchangeable? Like, if for example I've studied from Glover, so that's like okay, like for interview purposes and stuff, you know.
Okay, very good question. In fact, it's a new knowledge for me because I haven't gone into the Glover book in the past. So the gentleman has shared about the Glover book. If you are studying it from your engineering days, it's like a blessing in disguise that you are reading something which is very much close to the Brown book. But reading the Glover book would not replace the need for IEEE 399 Brown book. The reason being, when we are doing the studies in the market, when we are doing the studies for the industrial networks, we do not give reference to the Glover book. But in our studies, we always give reference to the IEEE 399 standard, especially, for example, when we talk about the load flow studies and we are talking about the voltage limits, over voltage limit or under voltage limit, under steady state conditions, we refer to the sections under IEEE 399 Brown book. So even if you have read through the Glover book, it would help you to easily understand the Brown book, but you cannot make it as a replacement for the Brown book. The need for learning the Brown book for a power system study engineer remains there.
All right, thank you so much.
So I hope if there are no more questions, we can.
Sir?
Yeah.
Sir, it's Umair here, sir.
Yeah, Umair.
Sir, my question is that during the mini presentation, you gave us, you presented a point that there is less competition in this field, sir. Sir, does that mean that there is also less demand for power system study specialists, especially in developing countries like that of ours?
Okay. Very good question. Thank you very much, Umair, for adding this point. Okay. This power system study is not a new concept. This is starting from the day when the electrical network has actually started, electricity has started. The only thing is now in the developing countries, the governments are becoming more and more aware about the safety risks and the reliability aspects. So I can think about Imran Khan's government in Pakistan, which is much more responsible government as compared to the other previous governments. I don't want to be political, but the thing is, all these studies are basic need of any electrical network. And maybe as a student, you are not familiar that where these studies are being conducted. But within Pakistan, all the electrical installations going on, whether it's a CPEC project, whether it's any other project, Gwadar support project, you will find that wherever there is an electrical installation, these studies are the bread and butter of that network. So it means the opportunities or the openings for the power system studies will remain available not only within Pakistan but throughout the globe. But why there is less competition? Because this field requires you to be slightly more technical and to be more knowledgeable about the subject. Okay, it's not more about the experience from the field; it's more about learning from the standards. So because it demands more hard work, so as a result, there is less saturation in this field. But to be honest with you, this field is not that much challenging when you get into this field.
All right, sir. Thank you very much, sir.
Or if you would allow me to add something to this.
Yeah, please, Vikas. Continue.
The point here is that when you do systems studies, it's about 20% of all the engineering.
Vikas, we are not able to hear you. I don't know where is the audio problem.
Can you hear now?
Yeah, now it's better now. Yeah, please continue.
It's better? Okay.
Yeah.
So usually when we do power system studies, it's like 15 to 20% of your whole engineering, electrical engineering, as a volume wise or requirements as a manpower or electrical engineers required is only 15 to 20%. And then again, you see that you may start off with a power system engineer and then you may end up something else in the career. So it usually depends on the opportunities available to you. So it's as rightly Mr. Waqar has said, people are becoming more aware. And especially in Pakistan, I don't think there's a high level of studies going on here. But maybe in future you might get the opportunity. So it's you might start with this, you might end up somewhere else. So it's let's say 15 to 20%. So it's not the whole soul, everything in an engineering, right? So I hope that
Actually, Vikas is correct. Yeah, Vikas, are you ended? Are you ended with your talk?
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, actually, what I meant to say, actually, most of the seniors from the different universities, they actually disappoint the students. They do not give the bright picture. Okay, they always try to exaggerate the things by saying that the market is very poor and there are no opportunities. So if someone is giving you a positive hope, if you are struggling in this field and you know that after a hard work you will be at a better situation. So this can be a place or this can be a field where you can pursue your career. Okay, and then it's all about your risk, where your risk has written by Allah. But when you are struggling in one particular direction, you would definitely, inshallah, receive a very good outcome of your struggles. This is my main intent to say.
Yeah, sure. I mean, I didn't mean to discourage anyone, but what I'm saying is you start off with this as an engineer, or you might end up in your last stage of career as a power system engineer. So
yeah, that's the luck. That's the luck,
know.
actually.
Everybody has a different path,
yeah.
Right? And then once you start off with this, what I suggest is to the people here that don't stay there. You don't want to repeat the things, right? Progress and grow, right? So do something else, right? So you don't want, so you give room to the others who are coming into the field.
Exactly.
So everybody progresses, right? So eventually you become doing something else, and then you do something else. So you may not even just be doing power system studies for your whole of your career.
Thank you very much, Vikas, for your valuable addition to this discussion. And I hope,
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for giving such wonderful presentation here. Sir, I have a question is that, sir, I like artificial intelligence the most and power also. So, sir, I want to pursue my career in artificial intelligence with power. So, sir, can you make any kind of link of power with artificial intelligence right now?
To be honest with you, I am not knowledgeable in the subject of artificial intelligence, and I don't want to mislead by saying something which I really don't know about it. What I would say, as an electrical engineer or as a power engineer, artificial intelligence can be slightly away from your field. Okay, as a power engineer, if you are studying these courses, transmission and distribution, electric machines, and process analysis, the field which is more closer to your study and your knowledge, it can be a power system study field. But I cannot clearly make a connection between artificial intelligence or power system study. I can say that there is a connection between substation automation and power system study. Yes. But speaking in context of artificial intelligence, I really don't have any clue about it.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum. Can I ask a question?
Yes, sir. Please continue.
Yes, Mr. Waqar and Furqan. Thank you for this wonderful seminar and webinar. My question is that I am basically a production engineer. I just want to know that what is the scope of the production engineer in the power system studies? If the person have an experience of 6 to 7 years in power protection field, like substation designing, is it valuable to the person if he will switch their field in the power system studies, and he wants to add that skill power system studies in parallel with the actual job, what is power in the protection engineering designing, what I am doing right now. So what would be added in my profile if I will learn this power system studies? And because I'm doing some studies, but that is very basic load flow and the short circuit. But I know the field is very vast, and the transient analysis are also there, harmonics that I don't know. So please highlight something on this. Thank you.
Thank you, Usman, for the question. For the engineers who have 6-7 year experience in the protection field, already they have chosen a career path and they have learned a lot in this field. In fact, protection is one of the prestigious field in electrical power engineering. I would never encourage any such guy who have already acquired 6-7 years experience in protection engineering and he is just switching into the power system study field. The way he can proceed is he can keep on learning in parallel the additional skills about power system studies so that he can fill up the gaps, because there are many overlapping areas between a protection engineer and between a power system study engineer. Let me give you the best example, which is power system studies for protection coordination studies. Like when we are doing the relay settings. So as a protection engineer, you may be familiar with the protection schemes. You may be familiar with the protection settings, which are given into your protection devices, intelligent electronic devices. But you cannot fully be confident in your work until you overlap with that part of the power system study field, which are relating to your work. So it means there are areas like which you have to learn as a like power system study engineer so that you can complete and fill up the gaps in your protection field. Okay, so you can fill up those gaps. Even protection engineers, I can see many people who have spent 10-15 years life in protection field and they have become protection consultant. And you can think about SKICO, so the electricity company consultants who are witnessing the sites. So there is a huge career. There is a very good opportunities in the protection side as well. So if you have already chosen this field, you are doing good in this field, and you just want to fill up the gaps, you can carry on with the power system study learning from time to time. But it's not mandatory to switch your field at this stage of the career. Okay, Bilal, I hope most of the questions have been answered.
Sir, one last question, please.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, as in the start, you have mentioned some studies like short circuit analysis, harmonic, and like this. So, sir, my question is that is power system engineer should have expertise in all these analyses, or he should be expert in one of them? I am confused in this.
Okay, very good question, actually. Yeah. Now you see the title of this presentation, distribution network studies, right? Even I am not adept of all the different type of studies. So when you are working in one particular direction, like if you are working for the distribution networks, like the factories or the residential projects or commercial plazas or construction projects, it means you're not working on the utility end, or you're not working on the transmission line planning end. So you're not required to learn all about different type of studies. As a point of start, if you are asking this question, I would encourage you to acquire knowledge about the basic type of system studies, which is for the distribution networks, because most of the consumers and the market is more about the distribution sector. If you see your homes, the factories, the plazas, all these are consisting of electrical distribution network. So you should be at least familiar with electrical network modeling concepts, which is common to all type of studies. And the second thing is load flow analysis, which you can learn from IEEE standard 399, and short circuit studies, motor starting studies, especially if you are pursuing for industrial opportunity where there are heavy motors. Okay, and then protection device coordination study and arc flash study. These are the 5 studies which are really required to start with this field, and then you can keep on adding more and more with the passage of time to polish your skills in this field. Even I am a learner of power system study field for many other electromagnetic, because of my restricted field in the distribution networks. But there is a huge learning opportunity in this field, and you can grab them one by one. But you can start with the basic 4 or 5 type of distribution studies, as I explained in this discussion.
Okay, sir. Thank you very much.
So Bilal, I think now we can conclude this discussion. Those who want to leave this discussion, and those who want to stay here to ask more questions, I can stay here for 20 minutes extra. But if no questions, then we can conclude this topic. Bilal, or Umer. Please take the dice.
Okay, sir. Thank you so much for your time, and thank you everyone for your presence. Please give your feedback at the link provided in the chat box, or if you have any question you may ask. So otherwise you may leave now. Thank you so much.
And one thing I would like to add here, that if the feedback is good from the students and the professionals, we can have similar type of interactive sessions on different aspects of power systems. Of course, I cannot be able to deliver all these knowledgeable things during these sessions, because I have also a job running with me. But from time to time, we can have some awareness sessions on different topics. As I told you last week, I had the opportunity to speak in King Saud University on power quality issues. So similar, like if the students are enthusiastic and the professionals who have joined this webinar, they give a good feedback, we can arrange such sessions maybe once or two times in a year.
Sure, sir. We can look into that as well, and we can surely make arrangements for that. And we are hoping a very positive feedback.
Thank you very much to all the participants who attended this seminar.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Okay, goodbye everyone. Bye-bye. Have a nice day. Stay safe. Bye-bye.
Okay, sir. Bye. Thank you.